Hey everybody, it's Crystal, and I'm signing in today on March the 13th. And I just want to say that I'm really sorry it's taken me so long to make a video. I'm not normally off of YouTube this long for a consistent amount of time. So I did want to apologize about that to anybody who watches my videos regularly. I'm so sorry. I just needed some time. And I guess I've had enough time because I really felt like making a video today. And I actually had like time by myself. This is more of a kind of a live TTC update, so I'm sorry that I haven't separated the two, but it was easier to do it this way. So real quickly, I'll just tell you how my life has been lately because it's been rather stressful. Since my grandmother passed away, my dad, whom she basically took care of for the last 6 years, I helped before that. And then about 7 years ago, my dad had a couple really big strokes, and at that time, I was the one who was taking my dad to his doctor's appointments and all of that stuff. And I remember calling my grandma because she was living in Oklahoma at the time with her daughter, Tina. And so I called her and I was like freaking out on the phone, like, oh my God, I can't take care of him. You have to come back. So my grandma moved back. And basically at that time, she started taking care of my dad. And she's the one who has helped with everything. His Social Security, his medical benefits, his health insurance, all of that stuff she did. So let me just say that the theme of March for me is like a full-on realization that my grandmother is gone, like that she is not here, because like I said, she used to do all of this stuff, and now it's kind of become my responsibility, or I've taken the lead to take over it because I know that there's nobody else who can do it. So my dad was a junkie for about 25 years, meaning that he shot up in his arm drugs, methamphetamine, speed, whatever you want to call it. And then about 8 years ago, he stopped. And about 7 years ago, he had a pretty large stroke. And then over the last several years, he's had other strokes as well. My dad also has cirrhosis of the liver and COPD. So he is a huge ticking time bomb. And I hate to say that, but he is. So he's got horrible health. He's probably at least 100 pounds overweight, maybe 70 or 50. I don't really know what they would call it. He's kind of big, and he takes water pills to kind of like keep the weight down. Because I don't know. All I'm saying is that my dad's health is not very good, and because of the strokes that he's had, he is not able to communicate with people like normal. So, calling on the phone and talking to someone, like the other day, we had to call some about his Social Security stuff. And he could barely get through the, security questions. And so, it's been very frustrating and very stressful because the last week of February, my dad went into the hospital and was there for about 4 days. And when he got out of the hospital, my brother, who he was staying with, said that he could not come back there. So it was kind of like instantaneously, oh my God, what are we going to do? Where is he going to go? That kind of thing. He didn't have any money because he gets paid at the beginning of the month, and he'd already, spent his money for the month. Wasn't expecting to have to go find a place to live. So, so Josh and I, before getting married, we made a choice that we were not going to let our family live with us. And this was partially due to my family being so crazy that he just didn't ever want us to have to, deal with that. Unless it was some catastrophic event where, they had to come stay with us. My dad, when he got out of the hospital, Josh and I discussed it, and we paid for a motel room for him for the week. It was like $180, but we went ahead and paid the $180 so he could have a place to stay comfortably by himself, that kind of thing. So he did that. He got paid at the beginning of March. He was supposed to pay his whole month rent at this motel, and he didn't do that because they only take 1 week at a time. They will only take 1 week of payment at a time. They will not take 2 weeks. So he did that. His truck is in the shop. He paid on his truck, and he bought a freaking phone, a new cell phone for $200. So now my dad is out of his motel room and has absolutely no money to pay for this motel room for the rest of the month. So he has nowhere to go. And I've been helping him with everything else as far as food and shower and stuff like that. I've been taking him to different apartment complexes for disabled people. And I've been calling around and getting paperwork sent to me so that I can fill paperwork out for my dad to get on some sort of assisted living, like Section 8 housing, something that is less expensive than most apartments out there. And it goes by his income. So the thing is most of those places, like when you call them, they're like a 2-year waiting list for a 1-bedroom. So we're just it's been a situation that's been really very stressful for me. And that's one of the main reasons I haven't been on to make a video. I've just been working and dealing with that. And so I feel like life has just been very stressful since my grandma passed away. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There really, really, really is. So there's this apartment complex that a friend of mine who she was taking care of her dad, and she helped him in a lot of ways, and unfortunately her dad passed away, I think it was last year, but she gave me some really good advice on a place to have my dad go to. So my dad and I have a plan right now that on the 1st of April, or the 3rd, because he doesn't get his check until the 3rd. On the 3rd of April, we are going to go to this apartment complex. It's more of like a motel hotel apartment complex. It's only like $514 a month. It's all bills paid. It is a 1-bedroom studio apartment. My dad is totally fine with that. He doesn't really care where he goes. He just wants a place to sleep. So we're gonna do that in April, and I'm confident that this will work. And so he can live there at this apartment complex until one of these other places, low-income places, comes through. Because like they said, it's a 2-year waiting list. I mean, it could be a year, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 years. Who knows? So my dad's going to stay at this place on the 1st. It's just getting from now until then, because my dad isn't allowed to stay here with my husband and I, and that was a decision that was made a long time ago. My dad has, massive health problems, but he's also an alcoholic. Like, he wakes up in the morning and goes and gets a 40 and starts his day. So unfortunately, we are not allowing him to stay here, which has been very hard on me. It's a feeling of guilt because he's my dad, but at the same time, he's a grown man, and he has been used to people taking care of him for so long, and he has spent his money willy-nilly, just however he wanted to. And this month, he really thought that if he spent money on a cell phone and, didn't make his rent, that someone else was going to fix it for him. And I am showing him, with help of my husband, that we cannot just fix his problems, and we cannot just swoop in and pay for problems whenever he causes them. So my dad has been, he comes over and hangs out during the day at my house, and I'll cook him breakfast, and we'll watch TV or whatever. And then when I go to work, he usually goes over to my brother's house and hangs out there for a while. And then at night, he comes and drives his truck over to my house and sleeps in his truck out in front of my house, which feels really, really shitty of me. But again, my dad has not once asked me to come inside and sleep. He hasn't. That'd be different if he did, but he hasn't. And he has another friend. Like last night when I came home from work, he wasn't out there, and I got really nervous. I was like, oh my God, where's my dad? But he stayed at a friend's house. So I know there's other options out there, so I just have to learn that I can't just run in immediately and try to fix it for him. That if I try to let him do it, he's going to figure out a solution. So that's that. That's my life update. Life has been so stressful. But like I said, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I love my dad more than anything. I don't necessarily like who he is as a person, because he is a mean, angry, bitter, irritable person, and it's very hard to live with him and be around him for a long period of time. So, but I know my dad is very thankful for my help right now, and so I'm just going to continue doing the things that I have been doing, and try not to stress myself out too much. I'll just be so glad when April comes and I can feel better knowing that he has a place to sleep every single night. I took him to the shelter a couple nights back. It was the Presbyterian night shelter in our area. Oh my God. It was so, I have called every number you could imagine for being out there for assistance for people who need help. And when I took him to the shelter, I'd never been to the night shelter before ever in my entire life. I've been down the street area that it's by, and I remember when I helped my brother get into like a drug rehab program, there was a place over there that we had to go to. And I just remember, it being kind of a bad area, a lot of homeless people. Not that the homeless people are bad, but it was just not the greatest area. And so the other day, because my dad had been sleeping outside in my yacht outside my house, I was just feeling so bad. I felt guilty, and I was just like, Dad, you know that I can't have you stay inside because of certain reasons that should not have to be explained, but there are other options for you. And so anyways, I drove over to the shelter so he could follow me, because my dad, because of his strokes and stuff like that, he knows where to go if he's been there before, but if he's never been there, forget it. He's not getting there. So he followed me, and I remember driving down the street, and I turned onto Cypress, this one street, and I mean, as soon as you turn down the streets are just lined with homeless people. People all over the street, running around, screaming, yelling, some of them sleeping. I mean, it's just sad. It is sad to see that. I mean, it's amazing and it's wonderful that we have a shelter that is housing those types of people and giving them food and resources and a bed to sleep, a mat to sleep on. But oh my God, it's sad. And you know what? Like, that's only going to get worse in our lifetime. Those people who don't have any means. And it's not just like a certain specific kind of person. There was a mix of everybody. I mean, there were couples, there were young people, there were old people, there were black people, white people, Mexican people, Vietnamese people. It was a mix of everybody. So we parked my dad's vehicle where there was a spot to park it. And then he took his pillow and his blanket and one bag. And we went inside, and the cop that was out there told me, he was like, let the people know inside that it's his first time here. And so I'm like, okay. So I go in, and it's almost kind of like an airport. Like, you have to give your ID. You have to have an ID to get in. So they put him in the system. They find out, I don't know if they do like to see if they have any sort of criminal history to make sure they're not like, I don't know, bad or something. But so they check his ID, they put all his stuff through the metal detector. And then the guy, this older gentleman, he was giving my dad a bunch of information on what to do once he gets inside. And I can see from my dad's face that he's just like overwhelmed and he can't figure it out. And the guy is just like, blah, 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 blah. And my dad is like sitting there with his number in his hand, like, what do I do? So I asked the guy, I say, hey, can I go back with my dad? He was like, no, you can't. And I'm like, what? So I don't get to go back there. But he does. He goes in, and as soon as I walk out of the shelter, I just cry. I mean, I start bawling my eyes out. I feel bad for leaving him there. But at the same time, he is a grown man, and he does have to learn. So it's just I feel like I have a teenage child that I'm helping to take care of, which is crazy. But again, like I said, it's one of those things that, you don't choose to have to take care of certain people in your life. And I could easily turn my cheek and say, you know what, he gave me up for adoption. He wasn't there for me. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. But I just can't do that. I can't do that. I will help my dad in any way possible other than allow him to just come and move in with me. And we're, he's happy. He's fine. He's working through this. He realizes that buying that phone was a huge mistake. And so he is learning a very, very important lesson. Sad that he has to learn it at age 52. But, he's going to get there. So anyways, that's my life update. This is why I didn't do IVF and life update, because this video is already like 14 minutes long. Okay, so other than that, work has been really good. Josh and I have been really good. My birthday is coming up. I will be 30 in 2 weeks. I am planning a skate party at this holiday skating rink that I used to go to as a kid, and my friends and I went to in like middle school and high school. So it's going to be extremely nostalgic. We are doing like a 2-hour skate party there, and then coming back to my house to have fun. And we're gonna make a Harlem Shake video. Hey, hey. Yes, I know I'm late getting on the bandwagon, but I've seen these Harlem Shake videos since like 4 weeks ago, since they started coming out, and I've wanted to make one so bad. And I thought, okay, my birthday, everyone's going to be dressed up. We're going to do it then. So, yes, it'll be a little late, you know, but still, I'm sure you guys will all enjoy it. Okay, so this is it for my life update. Stay tuned because I'm about to do my IVF update. Have a great day. Bye.